Halloween
Forever.
Good evening, Stephen. How you doing?
I have been a little bit better than recent, Brian.
I knew you're sick.
Yes, I think I had the Crumb Bum 19, and I'm not sure.
Oh no,
But
not the crumb bum.
yeah, I had Crumb Bum 19.
Thanks a lot, Joe Brandon.
It sucked.
Well, this will cheer you up.
Okay.
This will get rid of that last little bit of crumb bum you got there.
Uh-huh.
Well, really, it was just kind of a thought experiment. I was watching this movie, this here Sharkenstein, which is terrifying, obviously, because a shark comes on the land. That's the one thing that's, doesn't, even though I'm scared of sharks in real life, I do not like the ocean. I do not like sharks. When my kids do the whole like, hey, Daddy, what are you scared of? Because they're scared of, ghosts or spiders or whatever. And I say, I don't like sharks. I'm scared of sharks. I don't like a shark. This movie, extra scary because the shark grows arms, comes on the land.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all kinds of threats.
In nature, you can stay out of the water. You're fine. But, I know in the ocean I'm fucked, right? If a shark's in there, because I'm a mediocre swimmer at best. So this shark is going to be all over me. But I know I could definitely run faster than a shark can move on land.
Mm-hmm.
But the interest, if we were to do a triathlon, I guess it would all come down to who's the better cyclist.
Yeah.
Well, boys and ghouls, do a not great minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Crumb Bum 19.
Was that a joke? I felt like it was kind of a joke.
Was that a joke?
I thought I'm not 100% sure if that qualifies as a joke.
Was that a joke?
I don't think I worded it great. I need to punch it up. The joke is sharks can swim faster.
Yeah.
But of course I can run faster than the shark.
Right.
So in a triathlon, all it really comes down to is who's the better cyclist.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm the better cyclist because a shark doesn't have legs.
But what if this one
That's
used its arms, but
Yeah. See, that's the thing is I'm trying to talk. I shouldn't even have mentioned the arms. Guys, we'll punch it up. I promise to do better next time. This is a punishment episode, so I guess the audience deserves a little punishment as well.
Punishments all around.
Punishments for everyone. Bend over, drop them drawers, because we're going to paint that back porch red this episode, guys. So we are talking about Sharkenstein from 2016, a film that was bestowed upon us, a punishment that was handed down by our good friend Dan, who's here with us in the Discord. If spoiler alerts abound, but last episode, which was of course our March Showdown episode, we talked about Victorian horror, and our Patreon pick was by Dan. The Patreons won it. And of course, Dan was to the victor go the spoils. So he was given the opportunity to punish us. And he did. He came through with that punishment. He didn't pull any punches. He didn't pull that swing, right? He didn't short arm that swing with the paddle. He really laid into our backsides here. With, like I said, 2016 Sharkenstein. I will tell you, I was surprised to learn this was from 2016. If you'd have told me 2006, I would have believed you. But we'll talk a little bit about the filmmaker, and that's I guess his style a little bit. Just crank out dog shit movies as fast as humanly possible. Maybe not as much in 2016 as he is today, in 2025. But we got a couple things we got to do at the top of the son of a bitchin' show. Steven, are you sipping on a old cold beer over there? You got a couple 2-tree cold beers? What's going on?
I do not have cold beers because, like I said, I had a
you're
crumb
still
bum.
feeling a little sick.
Yeah, I had a crumb bum, and I'm just not in the mood to drink, so I have 2 bottles of water. Isn't that exciting, everybody?
Mm-hmm. Are they 2 different brands of water that you could compare in a sensory environment here for us, or is it 2 bottles of the same brand?
Fuck. That would have been such a good idea. But no, it's great value, purified ass water.
Just purified ass. Purifier and a motherfucker.
Yep.
Well, we're glad you're on the mend. Did you have the like the flu-like symptoms and all that, the puking and the shitting and all that, or?
Yeah, I don't get the puking and the shitting. I get like a light cough.
I had the shitting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get like a light
That was
cough
a few weeks ago
in the flu legs, in the flu back.
Mm.
And then like the only way I think it was more Covo than flu is like I got some like blotchy skin things, which is that's more of a COVID symptom than flu symptom.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That little high V type situation.
Yeah, but I don't know. It wasn't, I don't know. I don't go to doctors, so I wouldn't know for sure either way.
I try to avoid them at all costs. I had the chest congestion and the fevery type of yuckiness a couple of weeks ago. And then the week prior to that is when I had like the full on flu, fever, shitting, whole situation here. But I was around some people last week for work meetings, and a couple of them were sick, learned later that they were sick. So I was convinced I was going to get sick over the weekend here, but knock on wood, boy's still feeling pretty good. I was out and about. I ran 6 miles yesterday.
Damn.
I'm working on this half marathon situation. So I ran 6 miles yesterday. I'm sore as fuck today, but I feel pretty good. And unlike you, I've been getting after a couple of beers.
Yeah. What you drinking?
Yeah, getting after. Well, first of all, season premiere, I think it's season 7 of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs was on Friday night. And so I got after some beers. I like to drink couple two tree, right? Watch that double feature. And I like that they actually switched up the format once again this season. They went to a different format last season. I didn't hate it, but I think based on fan feedback, they switched it up this year because they had always done a double feature. And then they said, well, we'd like to spread out the season,
right?
Further across the across the calendar. Right. So they started doing just one movie. Well, that's okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But you could tell they filmed the format for it to be a double feature. So it didn't really make it felt weird.
Yeah. Okay.
So this season they are bringing it back, and they're actually doing every other Friday, but they are doing the double feature. And I think I like that because I do like the double feature.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes it feel a little bit more special too. Cause then you have it, you can schedule it on the calendar and you don't lose every Friday.
Right.
You get your 2 Fridays of Joe Bob, and you get your 2 Fridays to do other stuff. I like that way.
Yeah. And it was fun. It was a fun episode. They watched, is the 100th anniversary of Phantom of the Opera, the original 1925 Universal Phantom of the Opera with one Mr. Lon Chaney. So we watched that first, which was a lot of fun. And then, keeping with the opera theme, we watched Dario Argento's opera. Yeah. Which I think we did on this show.
We did.
Which I have no confidence in my ability to recollect whether we actually did things on the show or just talked about them. But because you did that for Giallo, didn't you? Didn't you pick that one for Giallo?
Yeah, we did it for, it may not have been the Giallo Showdown, but it was for a show.
Argento?
It was for a showdown that I won. So
yeah. And they did that one, which was a lot of fun too. But I did fall asleep halfway through, so I get to go back and watch a little bit of that. So I got after some beers, and now your boy's getting after. I'm trying to polish off, and I think I already did this in a recent episode, but I'm trying to polish off the last couple in this here 6-pack because this will be our final episode before St. Patrick's Day, a holiday that typically I don't give 2 shits about, but I do like some Irish beers. So I'm drinking on this here Fathead's Irish Red Ale, which I think I already drank on, or maybe I drank it on a Patreon episode, perhaps.
No, I don't remember. No, you haven't really talked about that one. I didn't know you had it.
No, I haven't yet. Okay,
not that I remember.
Maybe I'm imagining that. All right. So I'm drinking on a little St. Fatty's Irish style red ale from Fathead's Brewery, and it's just, you know what? Regular ass Irish red ale. Nothing special about it. That's kind of what you want out of an Irish red ale, just for it to be regular ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get cute. Don't be fucking weird about it. Just make it a nice, drinkable, dry, amber style ale with a little bit of fruitiness. Don't make it too hoppy. Don't make it too caramely. And then it just has to have a little tiny bit of like a drying roast finish. Not like chocolatey roast, just a little bit of an ashen roast character in just to lend some additional dryness. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. Nothing too special. Man, I got fucking bad memories of just being on the south side and going to Fatheads like during St. Patty's Day. Like that.
Oh yes.
That's a place I feel like on the one hand they should close down during St. Patty's because they're not usually that kind of a rowdy place. It's a place to go get sandwiches and beer and like
Fatheads.
Yeah. It's not a place to get fucking absolutely blotto blackout throwing shit
Go
in the
down to
streets.
Smokin' Joe's.
Yeah.
Go down to Mario's. Go to Smokin' Joe's.
Yeah.
That's the place you want to get blacked out and get into a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I have not been out drinking on St. Patrick's Day oh man, I honestly would really have to think long and hard to the last time I actually was out drinking in public on St. Patrick's Day. You know, we'll have some people over. I might even make a corned beef and with some cabbage and taters.
Sure.
My wife's family, extraordinarily Irish, and a bunch of illiterate, filthy Irish locusts, the whole lot of them. I don't celebrate that type of behavior, right? But no, I do like some Irish beers. I mean, you know, any excuse to drink some beers during the day, that's always a lovely thing. But I can't remember the last time I was actually out drinking on St. Patrick's Day.
All right, so I didn't have a drink.
Yeah,
but I do have a recipe, and so maybe that'll be my contribution to the drink segment. Is I want to pass down this recipe for the younger crowd who may be listening and still goes out getting fucked up. You go over Mickey D's, okay? And now this is for people.
I like where your head's at already.
This is for people who ain't Irish, but like going out, getting drunk, and get fucked up. Go over Mickey D's. You get a small coffee, black. You get a medium Shamrock Shake, mint.
Oof, love it.
Mix them two together. Put them in like a 20-ounce bottle, and then. And then you just fill the rest with Telemador.
Wait, when you say a 20-ounce bottle, for some reason, my head went to like a Gatorade squeeze bottle like you're on the sidelines of a sporting event.
Yeah. You can do it that way. I'm trying to think what I used back in the day. I think what I used actually wasn't not a 20-ounce, but like a liter bottle of Arizona iced tea. Like the big, the big plastic liter bottles of Arizona. I used to empty those out and then fill it back up with Shamrock Shake, Irish whiskey, and fucking coffee.
That sounds delightful.
It's fucking great.
I love all those things. Yeah. I wouldn't say I love Irish whiskey. I'm not a big whiskey drinker in general, but I enjoy it, but I don't drink it that much. And I like a bourbon typically, because you know me, I like a bourbon and squirt. Yeah. And if I could get a bourbon and squirt, with the right shape of white trash ice and a hot dog shop cup, that's my cocktail of choice. But Irish whiskey that's shooting whiskey, right? Because it's just it's very mild. It's inoffensive, right? So nobody doesn't like Irish whiskey unless you just don't like whiskey because it doesn't taste like much. I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of the Shamrock Shake, though. Guys, in case you didn't notice, we are stalling for time because this movie doesn't have a lot to talk about. But we got to. It's only like an hour and 15 minutes, and it's exactly what it sounds like.
It's an hour and 15 minutes, and it's
boy,
bad.
they are stretching. Yeah, they're stretching that hour and 15 minutes too. This movie could have been 40 minutes,
and about 30% of it is stock footage. So.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, that's generous to say it's only 30%. But we do got a couple other things we got to talk about at the top of the show. So hold your horses, guys. First of all, We got our beers out of the way. We got to spin that spinny ass wheel, guys. It's the punishment episode. It's the episode after the showdown, which means we got to go back to the old drawing board, boils and ghouls. We got to go back and spin it again, and we're going to get 3 topics. As Steve brings that up, I will explain to you how it works. Every goddamn sexy ass fucking Monday, we throw out some new content on the internet. We chum the internet waters with content every fucking Monday. But the first Monday of every month, we do what's called a showdown episode. So we pick 3 topics from our big spinny ass wheel. It's got a bajillion different topics on it. This topic could be anything from, individual performers to like subgenres of horror to some really wacky shit on there as well. We pick 3 of them. We put those out on the social medias in the following week, and all our social media friends and listeners vote, pick a topic for us. Once that topic is selected, myself, Steven, and our guest, or if we don't have a guest that week, we'll intermittently use our Patreon friends. We'll pick a movie associated with that topic, and then that first Monday of the month, we'll do a showdown episode where we each argue for our particular movie associated with that topic. We'll have a goddamn slobber knocker, sometimes a fucking barn burner, guys. Sometimes somebody will get speared just as they're reaching up off the top of the ladder to grab the belt. Somebody will spear them from another ladder down to the mat. But regardless of what type of no holds barred action takes place, somebody's going to take home that son of a bitch and championship strap for the month. They'll get to instill a punishment episode. They'll get all types of accolades and to the victor, of course, go the spoils.
3-pound Isley's chip chop.
Yeah, if you go down there and if you demand loud enough and you have your belt with you at any participating Giant Eagle store, guys, I've only tried it at Mario's Giant Eagle in Elwood City, and even then, mixed reviews in terms of success rate. So I can't guarantee that. You still get to carry around the fucking strap for the month. So it is that time where we need to pick our 3 topics once again. So, Steven, let's spin that fucking wheel. Let's get 3 topics for our April showdown. Ooh, we've had this come up.
I think it's come up every year,
but
it's never won to go onto the showdown.
It never wins. No, it comes up every once in a while, but it never wins. And the topic, I wonder if it's the title of the topic. I don't know. But the title is Telekinesis, Kyle. That's Telekinesis, Kyle, which is, of course, a Tenacious D reference. But we're just talking about telekinesis. We're talking about goddamn mind powers, guys. Any horror movie that displays a serious theme around mind powers, mind control, manipulating physical objects or the physical world with your brain. Okay, that's number 1. We got to spin it 2 more times. Number 2 is non-trad vampires. I like to call things trad and non-trad.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's very funny. So this is, of course, non-traditional vampires. This has definitely come up before, but have we done this one before?
I believe so, because you did your favorite with the Bill Paxton and the Lance Hendrickson.
We did a little Near Dark,
yeah.
And then I want to say somebody did, or did you do Let the Right One In? I don't remember.
I might have, but yeah, we've done that one before.
That's a fun one. I like that one a lot. But no one did Vampire's Kiss.
No,
so,
no one did Vampire's Kiss.
I'm just gonna say if it wins again, I will fight somebody to do Vampire's Kiss because I like that movie more every single day that I'm breathing on this earth.
Great.
All right, the third spin, and we have Monsters from the Deep, which is, we got 3 that have come up before. I don't remember if we did Monsters from the Deep before. I feel like we did because I remember having a bit of a gentleman's agreement, perhaps, that we weren't going to do Humanoids from the Deep because you and I both are big fans of that movie. Was this that topic, or was this a different topic that was just kind of adjacent?
I think it might have been an adjacent topic because I know this has come up before in the past. And anytime I think about this category, I'm always thinking about like Leviathan. And I desperately try to want to sneak in that Treat Williams movie. But I don't know. It's bad, but it doesn't win. But I need other people to pick bad movies, so I don't know.
I don't remember us doing this specific one because I don't remember having a conversation about what constitutes deep.
Right.
Because are we just talking the sea? Is all the sea deep?
Yeah, all the sea's deep. But I think then it
is all the sea deep.
Is
all the sea deep?
All the sea's deep.
Are all lakes deep?
I think
are all rivers deep?
That's where we would get into it, is like how deep's deep. How deep before it is deep.
Yeah. That's why I don't think we've done this one before, because I don't remember having that conversation. Anyway, check out on our social media feeds. If you go on the X, fuck the X, don't go on the X. If you go on Blue Sky, I don't know if we even can do polls yet on Blue Sky.
Nope.
If you go on Instagram,
that's where it is.
Which it's really funny. We'll put this out here on Instagram. I used to post like every day for years and years on our Instagram, and I've just been avoiding social media like the plague, because obviously in our current like political environment, we have like a fucking psychopath as the president. And let me also preface this by saying all politicians are pieces of shit. Fuck all politicians. Don't ever trust a politician. If you trust a politician, you're stupid. But this particular one we have in the White House right now is a real fucking psychopath. And I can't be on there for more than 5 seconds, or I start to have homicidal fantasies about every person I pass on the street. So I've been trying to avoid the social medias as much as possible, because it's mind poison. We all know this, right? We discovered that pre-COVID that it's fucking mind poison. So I've been trying not to go on there, but when I do, I try to interact with people in a positive way and just talk about horror movies and that sort of stuff. Also, if you want to send an email to us, because we do occasionally get folks who want to like talk about a movie they directed or whatever, or like actual legitimate reaching out to us with questions about things or whatever, do that. We do have an email. I always forget to mention it, but it's halloweensforeverpod@gmail.com. You could send us one of them fucking old fashioned emails. All right, but we'll put up once again, it's telekinesis, Kyle, non-trad vampires, and monsters from the deep for you to vote on via Instagram poll sometime, usually mid part of this week. Last but certainly not least, Steven, before we jump into the Sons of Bitchin' movie, why don't you tell the boys and ghouls at home about what all kind of hot shit we got going over on the Patreon?
Yeah, so if you want to join the Patreon and assign us punishment movies like Dan did this week, then you have to be a part of the conversation, which means you have to go to patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. You can log on, and then maybe you get to choose the movie. And then once you choose the movie, maybe your movie wins. I think the batting average for the patrons is 100 at this point.
They've been fucking rocking us. Yeah, we've been doing a bad job.
I think every time the patrons get a movie in, they win. So, hey, if you want to win, you get on the Patreon. Do that. But while you're on there, you also get exclusive monthly podcasts, and you get recos and reviews, and you get a whole bunch of other shit going on. And, if I get fluey or I just decide I want to start posting, stuff on there, I will. So who knows? It gets silly.
Anything can happen. And I do want to stress that the patrons from Patreon, the patrons winning is by no stretch of the imagination us, like kowtowing to the patrons. Steve and I just cannot seem to get our shit together when it comes to going up against them, because we I feel like have reasonably similar tastes in a lot of movies. However, we always tend to pick more polarizing movies or something. I don't know what exactly we're doing wrong. I haven't figured out what the what the mistake here is in the recipe, but we do just tend to get our ass handed to us.
Yeah.
When we go up against the Patreon crew. So
I think there's a couple things at play.
I don't
One, we always give the patrons first pick. So
That's
they
true.
may pick, a more popular movie. Two, maybe they pick a broader taste. So, like you and I will pick their movie over the niche ones that we pick up.
Yes.
This past one, though, was just all kinds of bumblefucking because I picked a movie I didn't watch and you picked a movie that was bad. So, of course, they win that showdown.
Well, I will admit I fully prepared for the wrong topic, which was a big mistake.
Yeah.
And then I picked a movie I thought I liked more than I did, and it was dog shit. And that was just a real comedy of errors. Last one, and then the month before that, we basically did a triple punishment episode. So, but that wasn't a Patreon pick. But Jesus Christ, we're doing bad. So go ahead over on the patreon.com/Halloween's Forever. We have tons of backlogs of all of our Patreon exclusive shows. We did every single one of the Fast and the Furious movies, which all suck shit. But we talked about and made fun of them, which was really fun. And then we did almost a whole year of me, making Steven watch weird right-wing propaganda Christian horror movies, which also sucked shit, but it was fun to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And now Steve's making me do wacky ass fucking weird 90s comedies with horror ties to them. That's going to be fucking weird too. So yeah, go on over there. It's a lot of fun. Subscribe, give us, paper monies every month and you get more than your money's worth. All right. Anything else before we jump into this son of a bitchin' movie?
No. Except for the fact that it's not called Mary Shelley's Sharkenstein, and nobody
should be.
Nobody screams Sharkenstein at the camera.
Are you suggesting that this movie is better than Mary Shelley's Frankenstein?
No, I'm definitely not suggesting that. But I am suggesting that they fucking drop the ball and not, doing any of that. Like, It's one of the things that really just kind of pisses me off about movies like this is that they aren't funnier.
No, this movie is so unbelievably unfunny. This is almost the type of movie where, we've talked about this 100 times on the show. When you do horror comedy or when you do like schlock, quote unquote, so bad it's good, or trying to be so bad it's good horror, you're always better off when you go just earnest, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do too much tongue in cheek, it's frankly harder to pull off. Now, do some pull it off? Certainly they do. But it is a harder thing that the very obviously tongue in cheek, so bad it's good is hard to pull off. With the certainly there are some exceptions. This one, the only rewarding aspect of it to watch is how unbelievably inept the comedy is.
Yeah.
Because it's terribly put together. And we'll talk about the director, Mark Polonia, a little bit. But he's not known for quality.
No.
He's known for quantity.
Yes.
In terms of cranking out movies. And I get the feeling he's kind of now evolved into that type of filmmaker, which I don't know if it was the case in 2016, but he has evolved into that type of filmmaker in recent years where it's just spam Tubi with movies. And I'll perhaps I can eke out a living or maybe a supplementary living doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Not unlike, I always forget his name because he's not actually a real human being, but the one that the name that we believe represents a weird collective of, again, spammy shit horror movie makers that did like The Killing Tree and all that.
Oh, it's Reese Frake Waterfield or something. Like some shit like that.
Yeah, it sounds like a military contractor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like some sort of Blackwater fucking contractor or something. It's clearly not a real human being. It's just a collective group of shitbirds that just crank out titles that meet the bare minimum requirements to go on Tubi. And then if they can keep people, streaming for 20 minutes, they get their nickel per stream or whatever. I don't know what the fuck the deal is. But I get the feeling that Mark Polonia has devolved into that in recent years. But you did a little bit of Google action with Mark Polonia, right?
Yeah, I just kind of want to remind. I think Mark Polonia came up on the show before, because when we did the Camp Blood movie, because Mark Polonia, he's, for those who don't know, he's a Pennsylvania-based director, but I believe he's on the other side of the state. He does like in the Philly, New York, Delaware area, some New Jersey as well. So yeah, he came up when we did the Camp Blood movie because he did some of the other Camp Blood sequels. And so he does some, and then another guy does some, and they just kind of trade back and forth doing Camp Blood stuff. But then he also, Mark just directs a whole bunch of fucking garbage now. But he actually dates all the way back to the 80s. And while...
Oh, yeah. He's been around quite a while.
So while Reese Frake Waterfield, the arms munition contractor, is recent with their kind of just outpouring pipe of garbage, the Polonia brothers have been at it for a long time, and I think Feeders from 1996 is kind of their most notorious film. That kind of broke through because it was so bad, and I think it hit the VHS rental market at the right time. It was one of those films that like snuck onto VHS and on the shelves, and people rented it and went, "What the absolute fucking dog shit is this?"
Yeah.
But since then, the Polonia brothers, kept making garbage after garbage after garbage. Although Mark's brother John did pass away. I want to say 2008 is when John Polonia passed.
Okay. Yeah, he has really leaned in recent years heavily into the shark stuff. It's not exclusively shark stuff, but he's that suite of assets that he has, paid for. He's really getting his money's worth in whatever fucking editing software he uses.
It's wherever he gets his stock footage from, and that's probably why it's mostly shark stuff, because a whole section of this film is stock footage of diving, and so whatever. I don't know, maybe it's on Envato, or maybe it's another service like Envato, but it's a library of stock footage of diving. And so he's like, well, I got all this underwater stuff, and underwater stuff kind of is production value. Better put it in there. And then I just have my goofy little Street Sharks puppet that come in and fucking bite.
I mean, we'll get into it, but there's a lot of strange decisions made, and I think it's just a testament to how little thought really goes into this. Not that I'm pausing here, because we have in the past said, hey, look, they made a movie. You know what I mean? Like we have said, like we've watched some really shit movies, and we try to put like a critical eye on them and say, like, hey, where's the value in this film, right? Look, they did it, and kudos to them for going out and doing it. This movie, perhaps more than almost any other movie that we've seen in a while, Fish Piss, I think, would be in a similar boat, where I'm like, yeah, they made a movie, but should they have made a movie?
See,
the answer is probably no. You just shouldn't have done it. You did it. I honestly think we'd all be better off if you hadn't.
See, I am of a more discerning, I don't want to say discerning eye, but a more...
I was going to say, is discerning the word you want to use?
I think it is. But essentially what I really am is I'm giving more grace to the guys who made Fish Piss, who also made Shrek Crack. They are engaging in making just shit art. Like
it feels less cynical.
And that's really what it is. Like the Janus Click guys who, they make Fish Piss and Shrek Crack and a bunch of other just like really goof ass short films. They are engaging in digital shit posting. I don't think they care if it comes out good or not. They just want to do, art for the sake of art. It's like going to a noise show at Garfield Artworks.
Sure.
You're just watching digital noise, and maybe it makes you laugh. Maybe it makes you feel something. This, I think, is even more cynical than like the Camp Blood movie we watched, because the Camp Blood movie,
for sure,
we watched, even though it's a lot of the same people involved back and forth with these films, because it's all, Westchester, PA or whatever. The guys who made the Camp Blood film that we watched is done as like a bunch of friends just hanging out doing camping stuff, and they're having a silly time. And like, the props are cheap and the story's kind of bad, but there's still that element of like friends just having a hobby. And they're like,
it feels like there's some camaraderie. It feels like the people who are making it care a little bit about it, or at least care about hanging out and having fun and making a movie.
Right. And they're young. Most of them are young in that film. This feels really cynical because we know Mark Polonia has been at it for 40 years. He's like there, and he stepped up his release schedule of putting out like 10 movies in 2024. Like, that's insane. So it doesn't. I think you're right on the nose when you say he's just spamming Tubi of throwing releases to get out there, just get on Tubi to get his fucking nickel back of from however many watches he gets. And that's why it's like super cynical, because there's no art behind it. It's not friends having fun for the most part. Like, it is, but it isn't. It
doesn't feel like it. It feels like the people who are in this movie do not want to be there. They can't wait till the day's over. It was all shot in a day, obviously. And they don't want to be there. They can't wait to get out of there. They're not aspiring filmmakers or actors. I don't think they're just like, maybe they're aspiring actors, but they answered an Indeed posting and they said, we'll pay you $50 if you come out for the day. And that's what they got. Right. And some of them might be involved, on a deeper scale where they might, it might be a friend or a colleague and acted on different movies. But there's just absolutely, this is a joyless movie.
It doesn't have any kind of like love behind it. It just has a thing of like, I've called up the same people again to come out and just make another one of these fucking movies, because it only takes 8 hours to film one or something. And then, hey, I'll slap the rest together with, with my stock library. And it's just kind of like, why is the money really worth it that much? And from what I've heard, it's not going to be. Like, Tubi's actually going to be more discerning with how they pay people more, and like indie filmmakers are going to get paid less going forward. And I think it won't be worth like spamming with a bunch of shit movies now. So I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps in 2016 and even in recent year, I think he's released about 9 shark movies since this, at least. All right, let's jump into it a little bit here, because there are some fun moments to talk about. But yeah, the production of the movie feels entirely joyless. So it starts out, right off the bat, there's some interesting decisions, because it starts out in the winter of 1942. Okay. And I'm impressed right off the bat, because I'm like, how did they afford a real nuclear sub, for the scene? No, it's the fucking stupidest, worst like effect ever. It's like the top of a sub. Like, honestly, I think I can make something that looks roughly as convincing in PowerPoint. But then they do this like reverse splashing, but the splash is clearly a small scale splash that they've blown up to make like look large, so the individual like drops are like half as big as the sub.
The drops are half as big as the sub. The footage is pixelated to shit, and the sub, like you mentioned, it's basically just a JPEG cutout, and it still has kind of the feathered edge of the background it was cut out off of as a halo around the sub. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I could do this in maybe not even, maybe Microsoft Paint level. Like this, it's really fucking bad.
Yes, most children could.
Yeah, I mean, I think I put in my notes later on somewhere through, like, there are a lot of the special effects, with the exception of the puppet, which, somebody made that puppet. My children, who are 8 and 10 years old, could definitely do better on their iPads over the weekend. They really truly could.
And there's nothing to say that Mark Polonia's kids aren't the ones who did this either.
That's true. I like to imagine Mark Polonius has no loved ones. I hope no one loves him. Is what I'm saying.
That's what you hope. But no, he definitely has some sort of following, because he just can't stop putting out these fucking movies.
He can't stop, won't
stop.
He can't
Addicted
stop,
to the grind. Fucking dog shit film.
He's addicted to making the worst fucking films ever made. So here's the idea. The Nazis have got the brain and the heart of Frankenstein's monster. So this is a world where Frankenstein's monster exists, and also World War II exists. Not Frankenstein, not Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. We're talking about the actual Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster exist in this world. The Nazis got a hold of the heart and brain. I think it's worth calling out as well that the people who are performing in this movie, acting is not their primary source of income. I feel very confident in saying that.
Can't be.
Most of them, I would not be surprised to learn that this was their very first time.
Yeah.
Not only on screen, but just acting at all in anything, delivering lines.
I wouldn't even say that most of the people in this film have ever had a customer-facing job to begin with.
I would take it another step further and say that double-digit percentage of people in this movie can't read. Because they would be able to deliver the lines better if they were reading off of a cue card or something. Yeah. But no, they're very, very bad. It's very stilted. It's very that's if we look back at a movie like, Blood Fart Lake or something that we did once upon a time, all of the gags, everything's delivered with some pizzazz, delivered with some passion, because they're there, they're in it for the love of the game.
Because these they're actual theater kids.
Are not.
They're actual theater kids.
They are,
and they have no fucking money.
They love it. Of course, which is great. In that instance, makes it way, way better. In this instance, these people, they do not seem to want to be there.
These people are 57.
They're showing
everybody in this movie is 57.
Steve, I guessed exactly 57 for one of the characters.
Skip.
And I don't know if that's a Pittsburgh thing and we immediately think Heinz 57, but we'll get to it in a second.
It's a funny number.
It is a funny number. Yeah, so we're getting a lot of completely untrained actors. We're getting a lot of stock footage. You estimated somewhere in the realm of 30% of the movie is stock footage. I think that's fair. But, we've set up with this idea that the Nazis have Frankenstein's brain and heart. Don't know why the heart is important. We've established, if you watch the original movie, the brain is the only thing that's important. We don't need the heart, but okay. We are at Katzman's Cove. I don't know if they talk about what state is in, but it is on the earth, I think. But Katzman Cove is where it's located. At one point, they show some stock footage that's clearly in like New England. Another time they show stock footage that is obviously like the southern coast of the United States, like, could be Myrtle Beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could, something like that.
There's Myrtle Beach in there. There's definitely New Jersey in there as well, because I saw that on one of the signs in the background. There is perhaps a Brazilian beach at one point, because there is
with the guy who's standing on the like lifeguard station.
Yeah, there's a guy who's standing on the lifeguard station, but also the woman who lays down in the chaise lounge next to her. I forgot about her. Yeah, there's a boat that has something written in either Spanish or Portuguese on the side of the boat. So
okay, yeah, that was a weird scene. I'm interested what your thoughts are when we get to that scene. Who that woman was, and did he pay her, or did he buy the rights to her likeness?
No, he bought stock footage, and I can tell you why it's stock footage that he bought.
Yeah,
because I mean, do we want to do it now, or just because it doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant to the story.
Right, because it's separated from everything because it is stock footage. So
it's more of a vignette within the movie.
Yeah, it's a woman who gets attacked by a shark on a beach, and it's separated from everything else. But it's stock footage because he has footage of this woman walking along the beach, laying on a chaise lounge, and then walking into the ocean. But when she dives into the water, her costume switches.
Oh,
like
God,
she's wearing a t-shirt and a bikini bottoms, but then it goes for a reverse shot from underneath her, like in Jaws, like you're looking up at a woman, but it's not the same woman because she's wearing different bikini bottoms and only a bikini top, and like they're both striped. They're not what the quote actress was just wearing in the cut before. But he only uses that footage like twice, and it's only like 2 seconds long, which is how you also know that it's stock footage, because it's the same thing over and it's only 2 seconds long, because a lot of stock footage is very short, because it's just meant for commercials to advertise a fucking beach resort, not to be a part of a feature film.
Sure. And I can't express to you how little attention I was paying at this point. Like, I was so fucking checked out. We're cutting back to earlier in the movie. We do get introduced to my personal favorite character, which is Duke Larson, who Dan in the Discord here mentions he looks exactly like the asshole husband from Sister Wives. Google it. You're not wrong. Not wrong at all. And I think one of the telltale signs is that maybe his hair is not quite as. I was just looking at a picture of the asshole husband from Sister Wives, and his hair looks a little bit like ramen noodles, like uncooked ramen noodles. This guy's hair is a little bit more feathered, but it also does. His goatee is the polar. It could not be a more different color than his hair, which has just always been an off-putting thing to me. Just gives some big Hulk Hogan vibes. When I see a person who has like bleach blonde long hair and a dark colored goatee, I assume they're racist. Is that fair? If it's a fair assumption, I just immediately am like, you're obviously very racist.
You probably say slurs.
Yeah, you say slurs. Swimmers are missing. He'll check it out. Don't worry, guys. This is one of my favorite parts in the movie, because a lot of times with movies of this caliber, they will wait as long as they can to actually show the monster, which is also a classic trope in good monster movies as well, which I love. And we've talked about many times on the show, is you can show the monster too much and it loses its effect. Right. So holding on to show the monster for a long time is a good thing. This movie does the exact opposite, where we unceremoniously, with zero buildup and zero fanfare, get a full view of the Frankenshark within the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like, and they just treat it like it might as well be a fucking tire floating in the water.
Yeah.
Like, it's zero fanfare, zero buildup, zero, like, even impression that there should be some shock or awe. It's just like, Oh, there's Sharkenstein. Oh yeah, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, there he is. That's how you know. That's how you know Sharkenstein. Yeah, I have the exact same
This
note.
is the most low energy horror movie I've ever fucking seen.
It's so low energy because even when he attacks, there's no sting to it. Because I have the note.
No.
This is the opposite of Jaws. Build no tension and always show the monster.
It's like everyone is on lewds. Everyone from the cinematographer to every performer. It is just everyone is just concentrated on keeping their heart beating.
Lewds is impossible because we all know all the lewds got done in the 80s. This is a film made on nitrous. This is a film where everybody cannot stop huffing.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all huffing nitrous or ether or something. It's like they are just on their fucking they're just trying to stay conscious.
Yeah.
Just trying to stay conscious.
That's, oh my God. That's why that character is nonverbal. Which also that character, the nonverbal character in this, is also the director. So that's why he's nonverbal. He has fucking gassed his brain out at this point.
Yeah, he's got brain damage. Yeah, it was interesting because I did look up before we jumped on and saw. I was going through some, I saw that that's the director, but which was made total sense, but it was also kind of disappointing because we get introduced to it in a second. But I was like, I hope that because they only have one boat. Okay.
Yeah.
And they keep showing this boat, small boat, even by like it's not a little dinghy, like it's a boat. It's just a regular boat that your friend who has a boat might have.
It's a regular lake boat. It's not a
yeah. It's not a pontoon boat. It's like a boat you might have to go tubing, or water skiing on. You know what I mean? And in my mind, I was like, oh, that guy. Before I realized it was the director, and it still might be the reality here, is that like he won't let anybody else drive his boat, but he's going to let them use it for the movie. So he's like, well, we have to have him in the movie if he's going to be the guy driving the boat, but he doesn't know how to say lines, so let's just make him mute as a character.
Yeah.
Which would have been funnier, and I'm sorry that's not the reality. But it still could be Mark fucking whatever his last name is. I've already forgot it.
Polonia.
Polonia. It might be Mark's boat. And I frankly would love if it was Mark's boat because he bought that boat with his tubing money. and I would love. What's that?
Well, and now the boat is probably some sort of write-off because it's been in a movie.
I like that too. Yeah. I hope the boat is called like Tubi Shark or something like that because all his fucking, Tubi Shark movies paid for that fucking his 20 movies. He saved up $20,000 to buy that used boat. He made $1,000 per movie times 20 movies. He bought a used boat for $20,000 and he named it Tubi Shark.
It's to be rich or not to be rich.
Yeah, I hope so.
Some sort of fucking pun.
There's a pun.
Yeah. The other guy, the Duke Larson, is the only other person allowed to drive the boat. And I think that's because him and Mark just do movies together all the time. Like, this Ken Van Sant is who plays Duke Larson. He has a whole bunch of other fucking films where he plays, I'm assuming the same character, but he is in Bigfoot vs. Zombies, playing Duke Larson. In Virus Shark, he plays Duke Larson. In R.I.P. Van Winkle Part 3, he plays Chief Duke Law, which I can only assume is an older whatever.
Wait, they did a Rip Van Winkle movie, but they called it R.I.P. Van Winkle?
Yes.
Nice.
And then in 2024, he's in Cocaine Werewolf as Sheriff Duke Larson.
Yeah, he looks like a cross between, like Dan said, the shitbag husband from the reality show Sister Wives, combined with just a I'm going to say 15% Dog the Bounty Hunter, maybe 20% Dog the Bounty Hunter. And that's what Duke Larson looks like. I assume that's what he looks like in all the movies.
Yeah.
He's just like I would say like a faintly, could be mistaken for physically fit 58-year-old man with bad hair and a goatee.
Yeah.
And like he can definitely deliver lines better than anybody else in the movie, but that's not saying a lot. He also, I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's just matching the energy of everyone else on set, which is to say 0% energy. But I can imagine him giving it a little bit more. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Van Winkle 3.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And just look at the cover of that. You get all Duke Larson. Even though he can deliver lines, the one thing he can't do is deliver lines without the mid-Atlantic Pennsylvania accent. Because I think like one of his first lines is like, okay, well, I'm going to go sweep the cove. And I was like, okay, do you want to add and go get a water ice after that?
Yeah. Oh, you can see him saying that for sure.
Yeah.
This could have been fun. Like they really could have made this fun with this concept because they have this weird little puppet and the little puppet is kind of fun. It's not
a charm.
Really
There's a charm
that
to
fun.
It.
Yeah. They made a shark that looks like it's Frankenstein, like it's kind of got the stapled together, stitched together look to it. And they're doing this thing where they keep showing its little Frankenstein, dorsal fin popping up, which is like, okay, that could be fun too. But unfortunately, whenever it attacks people, which it does a tons of times, again, there's no buildup, there's no tension whatsoever. And then normally what they do is they just show its fin and then they show a face of that person making like a concerning face and then just do this like red filter over it. And then that means they're dead.
Yeah.
Or they'll sometimes just show like what appears to be kind of like a clip art of the puppet just being launched into the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it's either just like a JPEG of the shark being slid onto the screen. Maybe sometimes it's a 3D green screen that they filmed. The first woman, I think, just like she explodes into blood because they just slide just slide a JPEG into her like a headbutt, and then she just explodes in the blood. Like there's never, ever any contact between Sharkenstein and an actor. It just is never going to happen. There's no even attempt of filming two different plates. Like if you filmed Sharkenstein on a green screen and then you film one of the actors being eaten from the waist up on a green screen. But no, because that would require somebody coming over to Mark's house to film that. And they're not doing all that rigmarole. That's too much.
And his mom would be pissed. Yeah. His mom's, he's grounded.
He's grounded. Can't have guests.
He's not allowed to have friends over. Yeah, we get this first victim and that's what happens to him. And it's disappointing. And it doesn't go anywhere up from here. They do a couple of bits where it's like you find feet left behind or an arm left behind or some sort of severed limb. Of course it's like Spirit Halloween props, like a fake foot in a shoe and then they just pour blood on it. But just like, hey, that's at least you're trying that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that a little bit, but those are few and far between as well. All right, so now we get introduced to the worst part of the movie, which is the gang. Ugh. And they are so fucking bad. And I'm currently watching a kind of a teen slasher kind of movie right now called Deadly Manor. And I've watched another one before that earlier today. A good crew, an entertaining crew of teens, that are being stalked by a monster or a serial killer can change the whole way you feel about a movie.
Yeah.
This is the worst crew I've ever seen.
It sucks. All the ass.
It sucks so bad. All right. And I'm going to start from least shit to most shit. We have, and boy, I do not want to. So the first one is Coop, played by Titus Himmelberger. And Titus has been in all of these fucking movies. Like, he just is in, like, he's been in 34 films. I'm not going to count them, but I venture to say the vast majority of them are
Polonia brother?
Polonia related things. Whether they're directed by one of the Polonia brothers or not, they're Polonia related, I would venture to say, right?
Yeah.
And I also don't want you to think for 1 second that I think that Titus Himmelberger is good at acting. I do not want you to think that. He's not. But he is giving at least a 2 out of 10 effort to this movie. He plays Coop. Coop's whole character is he's like at first he's the guy who's like obsessed with his phone and he just looks at his phone. But then he also becomes like the tech guy a little bit, which also doesn't make a lot of sense.
In a film where nobody can read, having a phone does make you the tech guy.
That's true. That's fair. Yeah, he's the most. He's the only literate one of the group. Then you have, and honestly, this might be a tie for the worst. It's between Greta Volkova, who plays Madge, and James Corollis, who plays Skip. So Greta could not, like, she's incapable of displaying emotion.
Yeah.
It is the most flat line delivery I can think of in a movie, honestly. I can't think of something that's more flat than this for an entire movie. She
seems the most of not wanting to be there.
She does not seem to want to be there at all.
That, like, she made a mistake, but also she goes on and makes more movies with these guys. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she just the one day, being it's only a 1 day shoot. Maybe that 1 day was off for her.
Yeah. I mean, she's in a lot of Mark Polonia movies. She's also in a movie that's like a guy directed, which I refuse to believe this is a real human being. His name's Ron Bonk. And
Bonk
there's no way Ron
rules.
Bonk. There's no fucking way Ron Bonk exists. He's a director of 8 movies. He seems to have a very similar type of career to the Polonia brothers. So that's why I'm like, he doesn't exist. But these type of guys, these, Joe DeMuro, Mark Polonia, like that, those are the type of movies that she's in.
Yeah.
Again, she does not want to be there.
What I'll give for Ron Bonk is he is more along the lines of Blood Fart Lake, in that his shit is funny sometimes.
Okay.
Like, all of his stuff is either it's literally either Amityville or Shark or both. Like, he does House Shark and then he does Amityville Shark House. Ron Bonk is a fucking maniac.
I'll watch a Ron Bonk movie if you say so, but I don't think I've seen a Ron Bonk movie.
I can't attest to all of them, but now I'm seeing, because I think he does do the same kind of cynical, just churn shit out to get it on Tubi, but I think he's funny sometimes too.
Yeah.
Because I remember laughing at House Shark for being so preposterous, and now I am interested in watching Kaiju Glam Metal Shark Attack. So,
I mean, Ron Bonk, he's got a lot of movies. He's got movies going back to the early 90s.
Yeah.
So he's been around for a minute too. I don't want to talk about Ron Bonk. I don't want to. I don't why we are. Because of fucking Greta Volkova. She's very bad. She's done a bad job. But I would rather her read me a bedtime story every night before I go to sleep than watch James Corollis breathe for another fucking second. So he's played by a character named Skip. He plays a character named Skip, and he sucks so fucking bad. And it's not even that. I actually think he's giving more effort than the other two that I mentioned in line delivery sometimes. But he showed up to set, Okay. And they were like, you guys are going to be like college age, whatever kids. Okay. I'm going to say that Skip is minimum 47 years old.
Yeah.
You said 57.
Yeah.
I'm going to say
I said that is a
minimum
57-year-old man.
I said, I'm going back and I thought I said 57. I'm looking at my notes. I said he's minimum 47. Coop is 38, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And Madge is probably in her early 30s to mid 30s. She's the only one that could maybe play like mid to late 20s, but it would be a bit of a stretch. The other two, Coop could not play 30s. It would be weird. And Skip is late 40s minimum.
Yeah.
So you have three people who are supposed to be a group of like teen friends who each of them are a decade apart at least. And they're all trying to act like they're college kids. And Skip, because obviously there's no wardrobe department in this movie. He showed up wearing completely appropriate attire for his age that you would see somebody walking around at like Idlewild Park wearing, a 47-year-old man in 2016, except for he went to, I imagine, a store, Walmart, and bought a cheap flat brim kind of hat and just put it on sideways. Yeah. It's like if you were playing, charades or a game with your like cringy uncle, and he was like, this is what a hip hop rapper does.
Yeah.
He would just put a hat on sideways for like a gag at like a holiday party. But that was his wardrobe that he brought to set that day.
It's so much of the hello fellow kids type of just like showing up and like, this is what the cool kids would wear. And I couldn't figure out, is he doing a joke and he knows this is wrong, or is he doing it in earnest? And either way, I hate it because I just don't like all of his dialogue.
I wish he thought it was good. Like, it would be better to me if I could think that he thought that was what a kid would wear in 2016. But I think it's even worse than that. I think that he knows it's not. And for some reason, it's even worse to me that he thinks that would be funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It rings of that like Gen Xer who is now, they're now old. Gen Xers are now old, and now they don't understand that they're not cool anymore. They have that. They spent all their life being the aloof cool ones, and now they're making the old boomer jokes. They're making the same jokes that have been made throughout history, and they don't understand how they morphed into this, how they are now the butt of the joke and nobody likes them.
Being old and lame and cringy snuck up on you.
Yeah, it got them.
And you should be ashamed of yourself.
They didn't think it would, but it did.
It did.
It did.
We get a lot of lines about Coop being like the tech guy, and he's like, they're chatting about like different land formations or whatever, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna look it up and get all techie on it. Which it's just written that's why honestly the dialogue like fits what Skip is giving to it, because I don't know how old Mark Polonia is. I mean, obviously we see him on screen. I would imagine in 2016, if I'm going to guess, he's in his mid 50s, maybe his late 50s, maybe his early 60s. I don't know. But this is written by him, and he is old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In 2016, he was quite old, and it just reads like a very old person wrote the script.
Yeah.
But not in a fun way. In a fun way.
That's what I hate the most about this film and films like it, is that it costs nothing to write a good script. Like it's literally the one thing in filmmaking that costs like next to no fucking money. And just sit down and write a good script and learn how to craft something that makes sense, that has dialogue that makes sense. That's all. You can just do that on your own. You don't need other people. And this movie is so apparently slapped together, and just all the dialogue. I started trying to like follow the dialogue and try to follow the lines and like how it breaks apart. But then I was like, why? I'm wasting my time trying to pick this script apart, like when they didn't care to begin with. So
it
why
doesn't deserve that much attention.
Yeah. So like, why the fuck? I'm not going to waste my time. But yeah, I started to, and I was just like, and then I just came down on the note. All this dialogue is stupid. What is that squealing sound in the background? Because like while they're talking, there's just this squealing noise in the sound mix. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, don't try to follow the script. What's wrong with you? All of this is stupid. Just try to figure out what that squealing noise is now. Try to figure out where he got his stock footage from. Was it Pond 5? That cost too much money.
Yeah, you have one job right now. It's to solve that problem.
Yeah,
please. Yeah, so by the way, I am starting simultaneously a movie on Tubi that is directed from 20 and 24, brand spanking new, directed by Matthew A. Peters, and it's called Graveyard Shark.
Hell yeah. And
the clearly AI generated art on the kind of intro screen here has a jacked shark in a fucking denim like cut off vest like howling at the moon by a grave in a graveyard. It looks fucking awesome. Already I'm 1 second in, production value is blowing this movie out of the water because they employed a fog machine, so at least we know we have a fog machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, we learn how dangerous this shark is because this shark eats great white sharks, and we all know great white sharks are the most badass of all sharks. So we get introduced to Klaus. Klaus was apparently a Nazi scientist who wants to fulfill the final, this final experiment that was happening within the Third Reich or whatever, where they are going to put the brain and heart of Frankenstein into a shark, right? So here's the weird thing, and I get what they were going for here, but man, they do a bad job of communicating it. We've already seen a quote unquote Sharkenstein on screen. Right. He's already killed multiple people, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the screen. It's the exact screen. That's the exact image, Steve, that you put in the chat that I was just looking at here. Doesn't that look sick? I mean, it's not going to be that sick because that looks like Gothic Street Sharks, which is my
jack off
wildest
material.
Dreams all coming true. Well, I wasn't going to say that, but fine. Yeah, sure. I'll admit it. No, but it's not going to be that good. Anyway, we've already seen a Sharkenstein on screen.
Right.
But now Klaus is apparently making a Sharkenstein. And we're like, so was that was your first attempt at Sharkenstein? So there's a lot of confusion about, are you making multiple Sharkensteins? Was the first Sharkenstein just a shark, which we come to, I guess, realize that the first one was just a combination of all the most dangerous sharks. But now he's got his ultimate Sharkenstein he's going to make, which he's actually going to put the heart and brain of the monster in. And it feels like they obviously, more ways than one, they fucking blew it, because this very simple thing that they wanted to pull off, they've already fucking blown it by creating this confusion between what we're seeing on screen and like what is happening, via the story. So it's clunky as all fuck, which, I mean, good God, it's the least surprising thing in the world. But
The very simple fix, like you said, there is already a technical Sharkenstein that we've seen, but that Sharkenstein has the brain of a shark. The very simple fix is when you put Frankenstein's brain into the Sharkenstein, now he can talk.
Yeah, or here's what I was thinking, which would be even more fun. Instead of, oh, this is a shark that's made up of all the most badass sharks, put it all these villains from history are going into the brains of multiple sharks. So you have the fucking Hitler shark. You've got the Genghis Khan shark. You know, you've got the Napoleon shark. That would be much more fun. Of course, that would take way more effort than he's willing to put into this movie, but that would have been a lot more fun. Yeah. Dan said a Trump shark. Yeah, put the fucking wig on him. Now this is 2016, so at this point we were probably still thinking there's no way he was going to become president, but we were sadly mistaken. Update on Graveyard Shark. It's already better than Sharkenstein because we are like 3 minutes in. There is a sick ass full body costume of a badass. Essentially, okay, so what you're seeing in that picture there, they made that into a costume.
Yeah.
But you can't see from that angle. It's a hammerhead. It looks fucking sick. It's got a studded jacket. And we already saw boobs, and it's like 2 seconds in. This movie's infinitely better.
Sick.
Take some notes, Mark. Anyway, Skip is just saying things like a 50-year-old who's pretending to be like, as we got further into the movie, I started like imagining in my head that Skip actually was like a 50-year-old that was pretending to be like a 20-something to hook up with 20-somethings, and that he was like a fucking weird predator. And that was the scariest part about the movie, which was a subplot that wasn't part of the movie that I made up.
I mean, it's what I assume too. It's just he never interacts with anybody else aside from the two people in the car. Like, I assume the whole plot was, I don't know why Madge came along with them, because neither of them want to bang Madge, and they're not like
they say things like their comments, which, you know, you would get like sexist comments in a movie like this, right? Their comments are more like inappropriate uncle comments, or like your dad's weird friend comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in any case, like, I don't know why Madge hangs out with these guys, like, at all. Like, are they related? It doesn't even matter. But I assumed this was a plot by Skip and Coop to go scam on like spring breakers, because they were just going to dress like college students and hopefully maybe hook up with one that was drunk enough, you know, and buy like they would go buy kids beer at the Finger Lakes is what I assume this whole plot was. But you know, we're not seeing that fleshed out as a movie. They get distracted and wind up in Sharkenstein's lab somehow or whatever. I don't know. They
literally just want to hang out on this boat. That's what they're here for.
Yeah.
100%. There's no other scamming to be had. They just want to hang out on a boat.
They just want to hang out on a boat that none of them own or can drive.
They just want to, Steve, it's simple. They want to eat chips on a boat. Don't make it more complicated than that. They want to eat chips on a boat.
How do these people get a driver's license?
I don't think that I imagine that most of them got dropped off by their parents. We do get introduced to Hoskins. Again, Hoskins is played by the director. He doesn't talk. It's not funny. Also, like I said, it's not a charter boat. It's literally like this guy's boat. It's just a guy's boat. Like if you saw this boat parked in someone's driveway, like on a trailer, you'd be like, that seems appropriate. You know?
That's his vacation boat. Like I said the Finger Lakes because that's why I assume Mark, you know, I'm pretty sure Mark lives somewhere in the Philadelphia area, and then the boat has a New York registration. So I assume he goes north up to the Finger Lakes for vacation time, and that's where he's got his boat stored at. And that's where they went and filmed for the summer. oh yeah, we just go up there to Finger Lakes.
If you go in there and you put on a fake mustache, you can go get multiple samples at the wineries up in the Finger Lakes.
They don't say nothing.
They don't check your ID. They probably know it's me, but they don't say nothing.
I take off my shirt. I put on a new shirt and wear a different hat. They let me get all the samples I want.
He's visited every single winery in the Finger Lakes, never bought a thing. He treats it like Costco. He just goes in and gets all the samples and leaves every day. Different shirt, different mustache. If he took all the money that he spent on the fake mustaches, like he could buy a bottle of wine, easy.
Yeah.
He's in it for the love of the game.
He does it for all his productions. Do you remember the Carl Weathers' character on Arrested Development? The way he was like super infinitely cheap, and he's just like, "Oh, don't throw that out. That's you got a good stew on if you with a bone like that." Yeah. He's living that. He's living the gimmick of just being infinitely cheap and just like telling crew members, "Oh yeah, no, we can go to Costco and look, we can get all the free samples, and then by that time I will buy a hot dog, and then we just split it in threes, and then we each get a piece of the hot dog, and then also they can't throw us out because we bought something there."
It's a big hot dog too.
Yeah.
It's not like a regular size hot dog.
It's not a regular size one like you get at the Eggs game down at the link. It's much bigger.
It's way bigger. Skip also, one of the other reasons I hate him, he always has that like old guy chunk of like spit / phlegm in the corner of his mouth. You know how like there's certain old guys that always have that phlegm, like it's spit. It's like collected saliva, but it's like thicker and white. And it's like in the corner of your mouth, and
it's because they let it dry.
It fucking sucks. I had a basketball coach when I was in like 6th grade that would always have that, and I just the whole time he's talking, I wasn't listening to a fucking bit of direction that he was providing because I couldn't stop looking at that fucking chunks of spit in the corner of his mouth. So yeah, they're just boating. There's a lot of just images of them like begrudgingly freestyle stroking in the water. Literally zero fun being had. They had some chips. That was like the most fun that it seemed that they had, where they did eat some chips on the boat.
Unfortunately, they both Skip and Coop take their shirts off, and they're just
oh no,
they're both hairy and pale. And out of shape.
To Coop's credit, he's in pretty good shape, but he is very hairy and very pale. Yeah. You know what I mean? Skip has the body of a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's got a old man paunch. It's difficult. It's difficult to see him as anything but a 50 to 60-year-old man.
Yeah. And he's just, that is, like, I don't know what that is supposed to be. Who is that for? It's not for us, obviously. It's not for anybody. And, like, why do that? Just, Mark's like, all right.
He's also like...
Is Mark, like, on set, like, all right, let's pop them tops off, boys?
I think he is, because here's the thing. He's obviously self-conscious about the way he looks. He's always trying to sit and lay in positions that like make it look like he doesn't have an old man paunch, but he super does.
Yeah.
It's just like, I understand you're trying to minimize the old man paunch.
Yeah, you don't want that on film.
Yeah, you don't want that. I wouldn't want my gut on film either. No. But I'm just saying, you can't play it as your 20 anywhere close to your 20s. It's just not going to play.
Yeah, tell your friend Mark, I'm not taking my shirt off for this movie.
Yeah, just be flat out with them and say, I feel uncomfortable and I can't pass for anything less than 50.
Yeah.
Just be frank about it.
I'll take my shirt off, Mark. Stop it.
Mark, if I take my shirt off, they're going to know I'm 57. Like the only thing that would have made it worse if he's like, Hey, it's my 21st birthday. Let's have some brewskis. And then he has like a pacemaker scar. Like, it's so fucking bad. So Duke pulls them over, but they only have one boat. So Duke's on the same boat that they're on.
Yep.
But then they like keep shooting it where like Duke's clearly talking from a dock, but it's supposed to be like their boats pulled up beside each other. Duke says they got to go back because, you know, shark stuff's happening. And then also Klaus like controls the sharks. He like talks to them on a it's like a walkie-talkie essentially, but he's talking to him on a microphone. He can like give the sharks direction, which is important. Nothing is important to the story, but because the story's not important at all, but that is something that is important to the story, I guess, relatively speaking. Duke sends divers into the water to investigate, and it's just like 5 to 7 minutes, like we said, of stock footage of divers. And then just monotoned voiceovers of the divers talking to each other. And you can't talk with oxygen mouthpieces in, but they're talking to each other with their mouth full of plastic. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. It's lazy. And I hate this movie. Also, in this universe, sharks growl.
Yeah.
They growl like you would imagine a wolf or something to growl, or a big dog. That's what they sound like. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's been a trope for a long time, that sharks can growl, and they growl underwater.
Yeah.
And you can hear it.
This is not the first time. It's not the first time we've experienced a growling shark, or even a growling. I think we've probably experienced birds growling, all manner of animals growling that shouldn't growl. But we talked about how the divers are just made red. It couldn't be more boring. There's just a bunch of divers, and then they just slowly show that diver, and then they show them red, and they're like, ah.
And that's how you know they got
he's red. That's how you know they've been killed, because they've been made red.
Yep.
More stock footage of beaches, more POV with shark growling. It just goes on and on and on. Again, a girl that we don't know gets the old red crunch that we talked about. She's also stock footage. The gang's boat gets bumped in a very unconvincing way, and apparently the propeller's broken, so Hoskins has to go fix that. They say, like, hey, let's go over to that small island. By the way, they're shooting this what appears to just be on a river. Like if you were down on the Beaver River, that's about what this looks like, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think that if you were boating down on the Ohio River downtown, this doesn't look that big. This looks more like the Beaver River, maybe somewhere in between.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were on a lake, but it is.
They might be on a small lake, or maybe it was an inlet on a small lake. But I mean, you could very clearly see both sides of it when they skip back and forth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they're like, hey, let's swim over while he fixes it. Let's swim over to this small island. Then they show like a stock footage from like a helicopter view kind of thing of a really big island that's like a mile long. Like, wait, how could that be in this small little lake?
Yeah.
But I'm nitpicking here because 100 dumber things have already happened. But this tickled me is when they finally make it to the beach on the small island they swam to, they somehow brought towels to that island.
Yeah.
So they have dry towels when they get there.
Those were made
Where do
available.
they put those?
No.
This isolated island, where do the dry towels come from? First of all. Second of all, Madge is drying herself off while the dialogue is happening, and it appears that she's never used a towel before. The way she's drying herself off, it's like it's a completely foreign object to her.
I don't think she can swim either, because when we see her swim, she is not swimming. Like I think all of the swimming,
she's clearly standing and just
all of
around.
the swimming scenes are filmed very short off of the edge of the lake, so it's like it's not where that they've hit the shelf yet. So it's that kind of, low silt delta that they all kind of like. That's why the water's all muddy and stuff, because they're kicking the water up as they're kicking the silt up as they're fucking filming. But it's all of that kind of level of like they're doing almost army crawling across the water as they're swimming, because their hands,
they're like doing it. They're filming it in like less than 3 feet of water.
Yeah, like their hands can't not touch the bottom when they come over and do a stroke. So yeah. And then Madge, I don't think has ever swum before, because it looks like she's walking as she's just like bent over in the water. And I think, they had to do it that way because otherwise the actress would have drowned in the middle of the New York Finger Lakes, and they would have had a problem, and that's a lawsuit.
Yeah, it's just funny that the majority of her credits are shark movies, and she clearly can't swim.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, Hoskins has like a close call with the Frankenshark. Here's the thing that this movie has done, and I almost want to give it some credit for doing something unique. This is the only movie I've ever seen that can make a shark attack boring. Really, really boring.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing about Shark Attack and all those shark shows on Discovery Channel and fucking Shark Week and all those things you see, is it's exciting, it's harrowing. Even if it's pretend, you can kind of imagine, like, this is a thing that could really happen to you, right? And like I said, I have a fear of sharks and the ocean, because I always think a shark or something's going to come out and grab me. Well, they've successfully reduced that fear for me a little bit. Like, I feel like this is the only shark movie I've ever watched that I'm like, this is actually making me less scared of sharks.
Yeah.
Because now I can picture this and go, oh, all right, that's not scary at all.
Yeah, that wouldn't
like Baby Shark, like the fucking stupid, viral toddler song, has roughly the same effect on me from like a primal fear perspective.
Yeah, because you realize none of this could ever happen to you. Sharkenstein isn't real, and if somehow Sharkenstein is real, you'll just explode in the blood, and that's probably painless, because that's true too. You just explode, like that's it.
Or just turn red.
Yeah,
that's not that bad. This was a funny part too, is they're going, they're on the island, they're walking around, they see a sign that says like no trespassing. It's clearly a brand new paper sign. And they're like, looks like it's been here for 60 years.
Yeah.
Like, why did you have to say that? It's clearly a brand new paper sign.
Just don't say that.
And it wasn't a joke.
No. Yeah. It probably was. It either was somebody's actual no trespassing sign, or, like they just bought it at Home Depot. Because like you could even see the UPC on the fucking sign. So like it was just bought for the, I'll it's a weird way to schedule out your budget of like, well, I'm not going to pay for this, and this, but I will spend the $237 on a fucking no trespassing poster at Home Depot.
Yeah. And not like a tube of fake blood or something.
Yeah.
They do this weird, they find this weird photoshopped like house on stilts along the island. And it was such a strange thing to take the time to like, I mean, it looks terrible, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it looks awful.
But it was a strange thing to build. Like, you really couldn't find stock footage of the outside of that house.
I mean, it's a made up house, I don't know. They couldn't find stock footage of an appropriately scary house, but at the same time,
I guess.
I just don't know what the point of that was.
Yeah. Because it looks really strangely imposed, obviously, on the background. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's like, when half the fucking movie is stock footage, you couldn't find stock footage of like, a fucking house on a beach, or a house with an inlet or a dock or anything.
And just, they just literally maybe couldn't. Like, it is possible he just couldn't find it fast enough.
Just couldn't find it.
He's like, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just
going to make it real quick. It'll only take me 15 minutes.
Yeah. I'm going to slap some shit together here.
there is a funny moment where Doc gets like some sort of, I think he gets a radio call or something, and he hurries up and he's with two guys. One of them's like an old guy, and then one of them's like, and he just pushes both of them.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. I don't know. He doesn't need to do that. I laughed at that though. He's like mad. He has to go save Hoskins. That's what it is. It's like,
that's what, yeah.
Hey, has Hoskins come back in? Or like, no, there's no log of Hoskins coming back. And he's like, God damn it. I got to go save Hoskins. He just pushes both the guys he's standing by.
Yeah, these two guys are just like leaning on his
Shoves 'em.
Jeep, and he just fucking pushes them off. He's fucking pissed.
They go into the house and there is like some sort of iron gate below the house where I guess would be where you pull your boat into. I'm not really sure, but in the moment they're in the house and no one's there, and then they hear this iron gate open and shut, and the shark comes in, and the way they film it, the whole idea is this is Klaus's house, right? And Klaus is making, this is his laboratory and all that stuff. But the way they kind of set it up, it seemed like it was the shark's house, and the shark had just come home to his house and they were there. So it was like a three little bears type thing, but the shark came home to his house.
Right. Shark's home.
Yeah. Oh no, the shark's home. We shouldn't be trespassing in the shark's house. But yeah, so it's Klaus's hideout lab. We know this, but he explains that like they find the little pool and like a shark jumps up and they're like, what was that? And I think it's Madge. She's like, it looked like a grotesque combination of different sharks. And then Klaus explains promptly that that's exactly what it is.
You got
it's
it.
Different species. Of sharks. And then they're going to put Frankenstein's heart and brain into it or into a different shark that looks exactly the same. Again, they botched this part of the story, but as you might accept, Klaus has a German accent, and as you might expect, his accent really, really comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
So we get used to that pretty quickly. He's talking about how he's got all these other people's hearts and brains, including Hitler, I guess.
Yeah.
And those are going to go into sharks too, but then that never comes to fruition, which was the best idea the whole script had, but they never pull it off. They never even pursue that side of it. But
not even
this is when I was like, wouldn't that be cool if they were like, oh, he's got fucking, Bundy's brain, and he's got fucking Hitler's brain, and he's got, he's just got all these like evil people throughout history. Nope, it didn't go that route. His lab tools are also kitchen utensils, and I literally own two of them. One of them is that wooden handled steak knife, which I just bought many years ago at a garage sale. It's that one wooden handled steak knife that everyone's parents had.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is this like chintzy black and red pair of kitchen shears, which I also own that exact pair. So two of those utensils I actually own. They're all kitchen utensils. They do this real dumb thing where like Klaus makes the gang help him finish, the master kind of Sharkenstein, I guess. And at first he has a gun, but then he quickly stops holding them at gunpoint and just makes them be his assistants. Again, there's three of them and one of him. They could just overpower him at any moment, but they are just listening to him. They let him put him in like a basement room. Again, he's not even holding them at gunpoint for most of the time.
No. They're just kind of into it. Like they're just like, hey, I guess this is what we're doing for vacation now. Yeah. Like Coop.
Well,
Coop is
they're just he's just pressuring him into doing it.
Yeah.
They're like, is he really going to ask us to do something else? Like a second ago, it was life or death. Now they're like, this is starting to be a real inconvenience.
Yeah. Like Coop is real into it because Coop's the tech guy. So Coop loves it. Yeah. Skip gets relegated to the kid helping his dad on the engine because Skip is just holding a flashlight over the shark, and Madge is there. She's just there. Like, I don't think she does anything.
No, she just looks worried. And it It would have actually been a funny gag if Coop's holding the flashlight and Klaus would have turned to him and been like, no, hold it up higher. And kind of pulled it up like classic dad thing with the flashlight. But again, the person who wrote the script, which I assume is fucking the director, has no sense of what is funny and not funny. He's never said or done anything funny in his whole fucking life.
Yeah. Or
so
if he has,
don't expect anything on purpose.
Yeah. If he has done something funny, he doesn't know why it was funny. And so he can't, he's constantly like just chasing that dragon of trying to figure out what's funny. Like he made somebody laugh once and he doesn't know why and he can't replicate it and everything. Dan said it, earlier in the chat, but like everything that this movie expects you to laugh at, you won't laugh at. And then everything you laugh at is stuff it doesn't even know that you were going to laugh at it. Mm-hmm. Like it just, just all the things that you're laughing at this film are not things that were done on purpose. You're just laughing because why is he wearing fingerless gloves? Who fucking knows? It's just silly. Why?
Well, it's funny because I mean, that is the definition of like a so bad it's good horror movie, but that's not really what this is. This isn't really a horror movie per se. Except for that there is a killer shark, but we don't even really see any. I mean, we see very little in the way of gore, and they're really trying to play it up more like a comedy,
right?
Certainly at most parts, and that's where it goes horribly wrong because when they're trying to be funny, like you said, it is painfully unfunny, but it doesn't go into the kind of cringe area enough to be so unfunny it's funny. It's just like a medium high level of unfunny.
Yeah.
And then there are some mistake moments that become slightly funny, but they're few and far between. And they're mostly just apathy driven.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I saw that it's the same exact boat that Duke and Hoskins are driving, I was like, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Like it was a chuckle out of me. Just like
how? Of course, how would they have another boat?
Yeah, of course they don't have another boat. And then when I started thinking about how there is probably going to be a scene between Duke and Hoskins interacting between the two boats, I was like, oh, how are they going to film this? Because they don't even have a second boat to film the master boat to begin with. So how are they going to film something that would require 3 boats? Oh. This is gonna be. I'm riveted. I'm just riveted and trying to figure out how are they gonna skimp and work around on stuff.
Yeah, they're just gonna do a zoom. They're just gonna do a real tight shot.
Yeah, it's all close zooms of the same fucking boat.
So Klaus instructs Sharkenstein to kill Haskins, but we've already seen that there's already a shark that looks the same as that shark that's out there that's already attempted to kill Haskins. But apparently that one didn't have the right brain and heart in it. But again, we don't know that or care because they still look the same. But then there's an explosion. What the fuck was the explosion? I completely missed it.
The explosion is Hoskins' boat.
That's supposed to be Haskins' boat.
Yeah, Hoskins gets blown up by Sharkenstein. Like the first time he kind of attacks, he didn't kill him, but now that Sharkenstein is under the control of Klaus and has a thinking monster brain, now he really blows him up, kills him.
Okay. It doesn't appear to be what happened, but yes, it stands to reason that that's what they intended to be the case, but it doesn't seem like that's what the shark does. And it's just the ineptitude is outrageous. Then he comes back and Klaus like electrocutes him before then he and he pisses him off and then he eats Klaus, I guess. I don't fucking care. The shark then attacks the building and really unceremoniously kills Skip, which I did think was a little bit funny because main characters get eaten. Again, the monster gets shown, main characters get eaten with zero pomp and circumstance. Zero. There's not even like there kind of is, but it's so such an afterthought that there's never like, oh my God, Skip, not Skip, that guy who was a main character the whole movie. It's just fuck, Skip's dead.
It is so awfully done the way they do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all in the house and the house gets knocked into the water. And then, we assume, okay, Skip gets eaten. They're all like kind of thrashing around in the water, sort of, from what the editing is showing. But then to show Skip actually dying, they cut back to earlier footage or just earlier unused footage of the actor swimming with his shirt off. And it has a red filter. So Skip goes from having his hat and 2 shirts on to just him in his bathing suit rolling around in the water and then with a red filter over it. And that's how you know Skip got eaten. It's just like, fuck this movie.
I like that like leads me to believe that the shark wanted to see him with no shirt on again one last time before he killed him.
Let's pop this top off here.
I like to believe that that's what happened. There is like a moment where there's some real the other movies with Duke and like what Duke's character is all about. I'm interested because they're definitely trying to make Duke like a, certainly this badass, but he's also like kind of hitting on Madge a little bit, but not really. Then it's like kind of a like more of a fatherly thing, but he does say at some point to Coop, like, hey, go get your girlfriend or whatever. He's like, she's not my girlfriend. And he's like, well, yeah, you'd never have a chick that hot or something like that. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's creepy. And it gets way, way creepier than that. But we also then get the slowest chase scene in history. And they could have played this up in a fun, like, Austin Powers-y kind of way, but they're in the boat. The boat seems to be, if not completely stationary, moving walking speed.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be being chased by the shark. And then there's this really funny scene that just struck me as a weird outtake of like fucking Trailer Park Boys or something, where they go, it's Duke, and he's like, this is for you, and he flips the bird to the shark, I guess.
Yeah, it's after they,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they go, there's a dock right there, and then obviously they don't show the boat docking or anything, but then they all get off onto the dock like they're safe, and then they're all just taunting Sharkenstein. They're just going, hey, we beat you, and then Duke gives the finger directly to the camera. He's like, this is for you. We're like, okay, yeah, I guess.
It's really close up, and he's also talking to a shark, which I like a lot. But yeah, so the puppet jumps up on the dock and is struck by lightning. And this is where the only entertaining things in the movie happen. Mm-hmm. It's struck by lightning and it grows arms. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm paying attention for the first time in like 25 minutes. The shark has big muscly arms, no legs, but big muscly arms, which are slightly more useful on land than not having arms, but legs would be far more useful. And then like Duke has a torch, like an old school torch. So now I'm like, okay, now at least they're kind of like taking the piss out of like monster movies a little bit. Yeah, right. There he is. This is for you. This big gnarled fucking old finger. Also, his hair is more. It's almost red.
Yeah.
In that image, in that image, in the lighting that you're showing me right there, he almost looks a little bit like MAGA Danny Elfman.
I'm pretty sure like he's a ginge from. Like he's just an old ginge is where their hair goes as they get old, and like his skin's all red and blotchy because he just spends a lot.
Pull up a picture of Danny Elfman.
Imagine
if Danny Elfman.
Not Danny Elfman. No, you're thinking of Danny Bonaducci.
No, Danny Elfman from freaking Oingo Boingo.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, Danny Elfman now.
Oh, see, I was thinking of Danny Bonaducci. Because Danny Bonaduce also looks like that. No, not Danny Masterson.
Well, Danny Masterson in terms of the rapiness, Danny Masterson. Yeah, Danny Elfman now is just giving me like if Danny Elfman lived in Ohio and was like a MAGA guy, like that's kind of where it's taking me. But
yeah, I see it.
So
I see it.
yeah, so you just see it like the face. Just imagine that guy with the fucking goatee, and if he was like Midwestern. Mm-hmm. So the puppet jumps up on the dock. You know, like I said, it grows arms, which is the only decent gag in the whole movie. And Sharkenstein can now crawl around, right, with his arms on land. So he crawls this farm and he starts eating cows. And this old lady comes out. It's like, don't eat my cow. She starts shotgunning him. And she gets a whole posse together of like these rednecks, right? Duke and Madge follow his like fin tracks or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then they have this nice chat. And it's all about Madge like knowing about Frankenstein movies. And they do this whole silly dialogue about how she names all the Frankenstein movies, and he's like really like she explains all the movie lineage of all the Frankenstein movies, the Universal movies, the like Hammer movies, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense as to why Duke's like interested for some reason, but it never comes back, and she never uses any of like her movie monster knowledge to kill the monster or anything.
It's literally a term paper. Name such examples as that. It's just extending runtime, and he does it by so just lazily just naming all of the Frankenstein movies. Hey, that should be a minute and a half. That's footage. There we go. Name some Frankensteins.
He's just trying to get to a minute. He's just trying to get to an hour 20.
Yeah.
And then also she gets mad. He calls her Maggie at some point, and she gets mad about being called Maggie instead of Madge. And I was like, is that a callback? Did I miss that earlier?
No, it's just
it doesn't feel, it feels like a callback, but I don't think it's calling back to anything.
No, it's just she is upset that he doesn't know her name well enough. It's not a callback to anything. Yeah. Like it would be funny if he called her something like Midge or Mudge, like, you know, something that's not even a name. He was like, let's go Mudge.
Yeah. She was like, it's Madge. Like that would have been funny. Yeah, he calls her Maggie, which is a more common name.
Right. Yeah.
And then she's like, it's Madge. It's like, what? No one got your name wrong before this.
Dan's theory is it's 100% real moment, and that he just read the line wrong and the actress was correcting him.
Oh, he had to do like a reshoot to make that make sense.
Yeah, it was just a real moment that got through.
Yeah. Duke was 14 bush lights deep. On shoot day. Yeah, so Coop gets killed in the woods again, very unceremoniously. We now have two of the four, let's say, main characters down, and we both saw them killed again, unceremoniously, no build up, no payoff, no nothing. We then stumble into a photo shoot with a character named, I think it's Betty Boom Boom.
You got it.
Who is apparently a retired porn star that's doing like a boudoir type shoot out along the side of this lake / ocean. And the photographer is eaten by the shark on land. But then she doesn't see it happen, I guess. And we're now meant to believe that Sharkenstein's main skill at this point, his biggest power, is actually stealth from here on out in the movie.
See, that's not what I thought happened.
Okay.
What I thought happened is she did see him get eaten, because she has this moment of like she's looking at her hands and everything like she's supposed to be covered in blood.
Yeah.
And then, but like obviously she isn't. I'm pretty sure just Mark told her like, yeah, in post I'm gonna like cover you in blood. So like look at your hands like you're covered in blood and like it's scary.
I did mention that. I did see that. I feel like I have to go back and watch again, but I feel like I saw her continuing to talk to the director after he was eaten. As if she didn't see him originally be eaten. But I might have been imagining that. Again, I was paying the absolute minimum attention at this point. But either way, this character, why she's there, who she is, what favor. Now I'm like, was this her boat? Is that why she's in the movie? Like,
Is this her boat?
what favor was she owed that she's in this movie? In any case, the shark then, instead of eating her, slaps her, and then I think sexually assaults her is what we're meant to believe.
Is that yeah? Okay, I felt like I was possibly adding too much to it, but if that's what you saw too, because we go to Shark Vision, and Sharkenstein looks her up and down, looks at her big cleavage, and then looks at her legs, and then, like you said, slaps her down.
And he doesn't kill her.
He doesn't kill her, but we never come back to this either. Like, we never see this character again. So it's like maybe he ate her, but also it seemed like he was doing a sex thing.
Yeah. I think that's what they were trying to insinuate, and perhaps the evidence was left on the cutting room floor.
Perhaps,
and I'm glad that it was.
Yeah,
but yeah, it does feel like the joke was that a shark raped her. I do think that was supposed to be the joke.
Okay, yeah.
I don't love that that's the joke, but I do believe that's the joke.
No, there's a lot of that's the other way, like this film is just written by a dude who's like in his 50s or 60s. It's just like all the like misogynist takes are so dated, and it's so like unfunny. Like they do a bit about what's her face getting her period, Mudge. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're getting to that. It's complete. It's the wildest part of the whole movie. It's the single wildest like couple of lines, and this is why I think that Mark Dildo, whatever his fucking last name is, I refuse to memorize his last name. I think he might be. His brain doesn't work regular.
No, that's for sure.
He doesn't have a regular brain.
Yeah,
because he thinks he's got the like sense of humor of like a 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he's developmentally stunted in some capacity. His brain is not fully functioning.
I've now just developed this idea that he has like 51st dates disease, and every day he wakes up and he wants to make movies, and so like he makes movies every day. But then he forgets, and so he wakes up and wants to make a new movie. But like he's just been stuck in 1997, and just he just wakes up every day and makes a new shitty bad movie, and then puts it out, and then like people show him his movies. He gets to watch some of them, and then that just makes him make another shark movie the next day.
Yeah. Every day he figures out how to make a shark movie. I need to give you a quick update here on on Graveyard Shark. We're 44 minutes in, and I just watched a full scale. I think it was supposed to be either a fantasy or a flashback or a storytelling thing, but a seaboat captain have fairly graphic sex with a mermaid.
Sick.
And I think it started with like there's finger things happening, and then him boning a mermaid. It's pretty wild. This movie's getting wacky.
Sounds great.
Anyway, they think
none of that happens here. We have implied shark rape with an old lady, and that's just fucking unpleasant. No hot mermaid toe sucking scenes.
No, this movie's light years better, by the way. And this movie sucks ass. Anyway, we're giving it so much time, but they figure out there's some sort of stock of munitions in this old lighthouse, which is perhaps the only old lighthouse in the middle of a forest. Like it's not on the coast. It's in the middle of a forest. That's, if you know anything about lighthouses, that's the wrong place for them to be. Duke and Madge take like 20 minutes to set up these fucking traps with explosives all over the lighthouse, and they plan to lure Sharkenstein in, and Duke is like, I know how to do it. He can't resist the smell of fresh blood. Now, I will even forego the fact that this is a in the water phenomenon, right? They can smell it in the water. They're now out of the water. So of course it would not be, a shark couldn't smell something out of the water in the same way, but that's fine. So Duke slices himself open, like on his arm. And then Madge says, well, you didn't have to do that. And he's like, why not? And she's like, because I'm on my period. And he's like, oh, gross. Like, that's pretty much the joke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The joke is,
that's what I mean when I say a 10-year-old. Yeah. The 10-year-old is, why would she bring that up? Why would any of this be happening in the first place? And then why would his immediate response as a 50-some-year-old man be disgusted? Like, just everything about it reeks of just a 10-year-old wrote it. You know what I mean?
Just the most stunted of, intelligences to say, oh, gross. Like not even a now you tell me. Like a now you tell me to save me the trouble of fucking stabbing myself. It's, ew, yucky. Girls are yucky. They make yuckiness. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
It's just more, I guess I did laugh because of how stupid it was, but I didn't obviously laugh in the way that they thought it was funny.
No.
But I'm like, I wonder if it would have been more. There's nothing they could have done that would have made that joke funny except for being as stupid as they were. So like, I guess I wouldn't even punch it up. It got the best because of their, I needed to laugh at them in that moment. And that's the best we could have gotten.
The way to make it funnier is to take the yucky reaction and actually ramp it up to like 15. Like, have it be really, really clear that he is doing just like a stupid childish reaction and just fully go, ew, yuck, ew, you're bleeding, ew. Like just over and over extend the reaction for like.
Go full Tim and Eric, like over the top.
Yeah, go for like a full minute of him just oohing in her face.
Oh, gross. You're fucking gross.
Yeah, like fucking switch camera angles. Like go to an extreme close up of him pointing a finger in her face, like ew, like just doing that, like
ew. I was in that lake. You were in that lake, just like over the top.
Yeah,
just like so unbelievably disgusted by menstruation.
Yeah, that's how you make it funny. It was just like take a stupid child's reaction and then make it super big and make it a focal point for no reason. Like that's how you can make that funny, but just what they do is
then you're asking the stupid child to ascend beyond his own stupidity, which he can't, obviously is incapable of doing.
And then even after Duke has his reaction, she follows it up with another line that makes like no sense because most of the dialogue is followed with dialogue that doesn't fit or make sense. But she's just like, and now you know how we feel. Wow. It's like,
oh yeah. Yeah. She does say that, which, what the fuck does that mean?
It doesn't even fit.
The funniest part to me, I think, is imagining old Mark writing this script and him trying to write a joke about menstruation, and he genuinely doesn't know what it is.
That,
you know what I mean?
That is the best. Which again, if he has 51st states disease and like is stuck at a point of life where he's 12, then maybe he doesn't know what menstruation is, but he's heard of it. So yeah, that's the funniest. The funniest scenario is for me is this all doesn't make sense because he genuinely doesn't know what menstruation is, what's happening. He's confused and scared by it. So the mob shows up, basically just when Sharkenstein does. And then Duke has got to risk his life to go in and set off the explosives. So Duke lures Sharkenstein into the lighthouse, which starts to collapse because Sharkenstein's, banging on off all the walls or whatever. I don't know. And then Duke and the shark, so they exist on the same screen, but it is like that fucking Microsoft Paint cutout type situation, unfortunately. So I don't want to give it any credit, but the mob starts to burn down the lighthouse with Duke, and the monster in there. And then Duke demands that they blow the place up, and he's prepared to like sacrifice himself. Although two things are happening. One, he's insisting that they start shooting at the building to, shoot the explosives to make them go off. Now, the place is already on fire, so I think that's going to probably make the explosives go off anyway, momentarily. And also, when they're showing Duke and the monster, they're cutting back to them, and they're outside. They're no longer inside. Yeah. But, of course, that's just because they're bad at making movies, and that's how it ended up getting edited together. But also, it's just, why did they need to shoot? It's already on fire. But they do shoot a bunch. And then the shooting doesn't actually set off the explosions either. It's the fire does. So the whole thing just doesn't add up at all. And then also it does. Then the explodes, and then they're like, "Well, it can never be destroyed." All of a sudden, Madge is like, "Well, it can never be destroyed." Sharkenstein, like Madge is insisting this as she just like walks off into the woods, and then she walks. I mean, this is the single laziest wrap up of a movie I think I've ever seen. After the explosion, there's not like a, "Oh no, Duke." She just goes, "Well, it's going to live again because it can never be exploded." And then she just walks onto a dock with piano music playing. And there's like a faint suggestion that she's sad, but we cannot be sure because of her face is not necessarily any different than it was the rest of the whole movie. And then she sits in a chair, like a cheap little Adirondack chair sitting on the dock, to reflect on her big day she's had, I guess. I don't know. And the shark appears, or a shark appears. And we assume that was the one from before, obviously, because it doesn't have arms. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And it's much smaller. So maybe it's the first shark, but it looks pretty much like the second shark before it grew arms.
I fucking guess.
And then that's the end of the then that's the end of the movie. It is the fucking most rushed. It was literally like, we're running out of daylight. Let's just shoot something that we can make into an ending to the movie.
Yeah. It's like, I guess.
Yeah. I hated this movie. Like I said, it's so unbelievably cynical. And I'm watching continue. I'm now, I got to be a good almost hour into Graveyard Shark. Graveyard Shark clearly sucks, but the people making it seem to care and are having fun. Sharkenstein, no one cared. No one was having fun. And Mark, wherever you are, fuck you for making this movie. You piece of shit.
Fuck you and fuck you for everything that follows. Because I can't imagine by picking up his production schedule, the films get better and get less devoid of stock footage. They probably get more full of stock footage. And I bet they're full of AI by now. And they're full of fucking all kinds of other.
Well, that's the thing.
Junk.
I guarantee there's a bunch of fucking AI stuff that are making their way into there now.
I mean, at this
just whatever the laziest shit you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee at this point he's using ChatGPT to write his scripts because there's no way ChatGPT can't do worse than this because this is just stupid and slapped together in a way that like lines don't make sense or connect to each other. It's so.
That's what I'm saying. ChatGPT would 100% do a better job. 100% would be a dramatic improvement.
I figured out where this movie was filmed. It was filmed Lake George, New York, not the Finger Lakes. Not the Finger Lakes. It's Lake George because I saw there's a building in the background of that final scene, and it says Morgan Marine, and I searched that, and it's Lake George. So there you go. That's where they're at. Lake
George. Well. I am going to try my best to never watch another movie this fucking guy makes, unless, of course, it's a punishment movie where I have no choice. And Dan, all I'm saying is you got one coming, bud. You got one coming. If next time you pick a movie in the future, and if you do not win, better tighten that butthole, bud, because I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it.
You're getting so much Eric Roberts up your pipe.
Oh my God, I'm going to fill you to the brim with Eric Roberts. There's going to be so many puppies. All right. That was Sharkenstein from somehow 2016. Don't go watch it. Don't give this person any money. Don't search it on Tubi. Whatever mechanics of the Tubi search environment that result in this fucking guy getting enough money to buy a boat or have a friend who has a boat, don't give him any more. Shut him off.
Yeah.
Don't watch his movies. They're dog shit.
I don't know if he owns that boat or if he just rented it for the day, but either way, he shouldn't have had that boat.
I really don't want him to have anything that makes him happy. If you are on Tubi and you see a movie that has a shark involved in it, briefly, just double check, make sure Mark Polonia is not involved. Because if he is, avoid at all costs. I hated it so much. I'm taking personal offense to this movie, and I want to hurt his career. I want to do damage to his financial standing.
I'm going to invent a crypto coin just to get him and Reese Frakes Waterfield and whatever. I'm just going to invent crypto coins to rug pull on all these shitty directors so they can't make new movies.
Well, it's funny because so we both are in the the craft beer world and craft beer adjacent and all this stuff, right? So we hit this critical mass a few years ago with craft breweries where there's so fucking many of them popping up all over the world, all over the United States. It was like we were having multiple breweries a day opening up in this country. We had, between breweries in existence and brewing and planning, we had over 10,000 breweries. It's too many fucking breweries. And a lot of them sucked shit, right? And I remember saying at the time, I can't wait till there's less breweries and craft beer isn't cool anymore, so we just have some good ones left and all the shit ones start to die off. Well, we're kind of in that space now, right? In the craft beer world, where a lot of breweries are closing. Some ones are really great breweries that just couldn't keep the couldn't keep the lights on because it became a very competitive environment, and that's a bummer. But we're getting to that place where a couple years from now we'll hit the bare bottom of craft beer is just not at all cool anymore, and then we'll only be left with people who actually kind of give a fuck, right?
And then we buy the dip and open up a craft brewery.
Yeah. But like right now, I mean, you could buy used brewery equipment for fucking pennies on the dollar, right?
Yeah.
Because of where they're at. Horror movies are at an all-time hugely popular right now, which I love. And I love that we get to see so many horror movies in the theater and all that stuff. It's all great. But there's also so much dog shit like this out there. And to Mark's defense, I guess he has been doing this since like the 80s. But holy shit, part of me is just like, I can't wait till stuff like this is not profitable at all so that these people can go away forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's always such a fucking annoyance that you just don't even try to improve.
Yeah.
Like there's no attempt to be a better filmmaker. It's always just, well, I'm going to churn out the same shit I've been churning out for, X amount of years. It's like, why don't you ever just want to get better? Why don't you want to try different things? Like, why don't you want to try to film differently or make a different, more interesting concept, or even tell like a personal story? What do you get out of this by making the same? It's the same fucking movie over and over again. Essentially, maybe the characters' names change and maybe the jokes change and the monster changes. But what do you get out of doing this over and over again and not seeing an improvement in craft or an improvement in art or an improvement, it's like, it's like 10,000 hours of finger in your asshole. Like at some point, you got to do something different. I don't know, man.
10,000 hours of fingering your asshole. You'd think you get at least really good at fingering your asshole, but somehow he hasn't. It's like if a machine does something for 10,000 hours, they don't get any better at it. They just wear out.
Yeah, it just wears out and you have to replace the parts.
The cogs just wear out.
The machine will never do anything different other than fuck your butt with that dildo.
Oh my God. Do you think he's not even real? Do you think he's a machine?
He might be.
Do you think he's the singularity? AI somehow because it's actually more far-fetched to me to think that somebody could do this for so long and still be so bad at it.
Well, again, that's what 51st Dates disease does, is like it resets him. So he never has the building upon. Yeah. He never has the building upon past experience because he doesn't have past experience. He only has 51st Dates disease.
You might be right on this. And I do like that you're referring to as 51st Dates disease. Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on Sharkenstein before we wrap this son of a bitch up?
No final thoughts on Sharkenstein. It's just, it's just more Eastern Pennsylvania dreck. Like I don't know. You can waste a lot of time watching Polonia movies if you want, but why? Like, I don't know. Go check out Ron Bonk. I'm going to go check out some more Ron Bonk, I think.
Yeah, let's do it. Check out Ron Bonk. If you're in the mood for this, I know that people have an affection for this. Go Ron Bonk. Yeah. Go Ron Bonk with it. Also, go watch Graveyard Shark. It's dog shit, but it does look to be at least fun, silly. I saw a guy in a Bigfoot costume, or maybe it was a gorilla costume, appeared to be getting his butt fisted a few minutes ago. You're like, it's chaotic. It's chaotic. It's at least wacky, Anyway, check us out over on the social media for more Bigfoot butt fisting action. But help us to decide what our showdown topic is going to be for the gorgeous month of April. Good God, I do like an April.
Sure. Yeah.
I do like an April.
It's a pretty decent month. I was thinking of just the way you said Bigfoot butt fisting. I started thinking about who is Chuck Tingle. I started thinking about why isn't there like a Chuck Tingle of film right now that does.
Wait, who's Chuck Tingle?
You've never heard of Chuck Tingle? Oh, Chuck Tingle.
Chuck Tingle. I'm Googling him
I'm
now.
sure you've heard the titles, but he's the guy who writes all the books.
Oh, yes.
Like,
Okay,
yeah,
I know what you're talking
like
about.
my butt fucked my butt. And yeah. And Bigfoot fucked my butt and all those.
I never knew what his name was, but yes, I have seen these.
That's what the world needs next is the Chuck Tingle of filmmaking to make films like Bigfoot fisted my butt and Bigfoot fisted my butt versus zombies.
This one is a good one. Trans Wizard Harriet Porber and the Bad Boy Parasauropophilus, an adult romance novel. Yeah, I've seen this before. I never knew what his name was, but there's so many funny topics. Not pounded by anything, 6 platonic tales of non-sexual encounters. That's one of them. And it's just like exactly what you're expecting. It's like a shirtless dude on the front. Yeah. The founder of the opera. Chuck Tingle is not what I was imagining. I'm going to go right now, and because Kate is into her and her friends are into all these these spicy romance novels, now that's like it's hot in the streets with the middle-aged ladies. And she would be very upset if she knew I called her a middle-aged lady, by the way. But I'm going to send her and I'm going to text all her friends this, be like, have you guys heard of Chuck Tingle? Yeah. Oh, shit. All right, guys, help us figure out whether we're going to do telekinesis movies, non-traditional vampires, or monsters from the deep, or if you want to go just straight up, if we just completely change the entire format of the podcast and do only Chuck Tingle slammed in the fucking cover art's so funny. Slammed in the butt by the handsome, sentient manifestation of Election Day by Chuck Tingle.
This one I love though. Happy birthday, Dracula! Now pound my butt.
The thing that's killing me is the representation of Dracula. He looks like a tampon. Is he like what is?
No, he's a baseball bat.
Oh God, he is a baseball bat. I thought he was a tampon.
He turns into a bat to pound your birthday
butt. There you go, Dan. We gave you that for the rest. That's what you're going to do for the rest of the night. Go check out some Chuck Tingle books. All right. Well, that's a good way to wrap up. So for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm not Chuck Tingle, I'm Steve. I would never try to steal Tingle Valor.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that is stolen valor. I was gonna say, what if you are Chuck Tingle?
Yeah,
no. But no, that's stolen valor.
Would never.
Happy birthday, Dracula.